Okay, this is the first of the series of roadshow that I'm going throughout the country. As you know, I was back on the 1st of August, and I've always said, and I've declared that 1st of August marks the new chapter of the Hindraf struggle. In the first chapter, we filed a civil suit against the UK government, and there were some, problems there. We all know what were the complications. And now that I've refiled the case, and the lawyers are all set, evidence have been obtained, close to 40,000 documents have been obtained against the British government, and it has been submitted to the solicitors. First, we have been able to break the shackles of fear from the people, from the Indian community. They have lived in fear for 50 odd years as a result of the government's oppression and threat of arrest whenever issues of rights are raised. We have removed that. From 2007, we have removed that. The second success of the Indian community is to expose the human rights violations suffered by the Indian community. All the while, the government have been successful in concealing various violations of human rights affecting the Indian community. Now we have made it known to not only to Malaysians but to the entire world that the Indian community suffer human rights violations. So these are the two successes. Now the second chapter would be to engage the governments, I say governments, to resolve our problems. As I see it, there are two governments in this country, and I'm only talking on the peninsular part. I would say 60% of the government is run by the Barisan, and 40% of the government is done by the Pakatan government. And I'm going to write to these governments on behalf of the community. And today, in the first road series, I've obtained their mandate to write to these governments, not to the parties, not to UMNO, not to MCA, not to PKR, not to DAP, but to write to their respective governments, Kerajaan Negeri Sembilan, Kerajaan Negeri Kedah, Selangor Negeri Sembilan, to resolve the issues affecting the Indian poor. There are about 2 million Indian population in this country, and out of that, about 500,000 are the Indian elites, middle class Indians. Our concern is for the remaining 1.5 million poor and underclass Indians. Our Hindraf struggle is all about the violations, human rights violations suffered by the poor Indians on a day-to-day basis. That is all Hindraf is about. It does not matter who wins the election. That is not important for us now. Elections come and go every 5 years. Politicians get excited. And generally, politicians would prefer to keep problems alive so that they can survive politically. But Hindraf's second chapter would insist upon finding permanent and comprehensive solution to the problems suffered by the poor. These 1.5 million Indians are voiceless. Hindraf is the voice of the voiceless. We speak for them because their voice is not heard in the mainstream media. Nobody speaks for them. So Hindraf truly is only concern of these community, 1.5 million community, who have been neglected, their rights violated, and their issues sidestepped and just swept under the carpet. The first Hindraf rally, immediately after the first Hindraf rally, and just before the elections, I personally asked the people to vote for the Pakatan. Not at that time there was no Pakatan, to vote for the opposition en bloc. There was a bloc vote towards the opposition. From what I read in the media, and from what I'm told, that 50% of the Indian votes have gone back to the government. Now, if that has happened, Pakatan leaders have to ask the question sincerely. They have to ask themselves, touch their hearts and ask themselves sincerely, What made the Indian votes sway back to Barisan? We did the hard job. 50 years, Indian votes were fixed deposits of BN, and they took pride in saying that. We did the hard job. And today, if the people are going back, there must be a reason. So it is time for Pakatan leaders to ask those relevant and pertinent questions and find solutions. We are willing to work with them. We don't mind engaging. We want to talk to Pakatan and see how we can assist them. We want to talk to the government in charge. When I say Pakatan, I mean we want to talk to the government in charge and find ways to resolve the problems. And then when the governments resolve the problems of the poor and underclass, the votes are there. And my responsibility is towards the community. On the federal level, they are controlling 100%. On the federal, when I say 60-40, I mean the states in the peninsula. On the federal level, there are certain issues that could only be addressed at the federal level. It is my duty as representative of the poor and underclass to speak to the government to resolve their issues. All the while, we have been urging the government to engage us on the 18 points demand. These are real issues. Previously, the government used to say, oh, no, Hindraf demands are extreme. But the fact that now, Najib is going around throwing out dishes here, there, bits and pieces here and there, clearly shows he acknowledges the problem. That is a fact. The fact that he has given me back my passport clearly vindicates not only me, vindicates Hindraf, because previously we were termed as terrorists, and that we had links to, with terrorist movement to overthrow the government, which is ridiculous. Now the fact that they've reissued me with a passport, we have been vindicated. Hindraf has been vindicated. It is time now to lift the ban on Hindraf, allow us to operate as a non-governmental organization, allow us to operate as a human rights movement for the people, and we will talk to the government to address the issues. I don't know, if the people want to go back to BN, that's their choice. I can't do anything about it. But I'm only interested in resolving I can't go and control the people's mind and say, do this, do that. That's not my duty. But as I said, if it's gone to that level, something has gone wrong. So let's sit and talk and find ways to correct those wrongs.
How do you see about the plans of HRP to contest in the next general election? Do you endorse
that you have to ask Uday Kumar, because he's the Secretary General of HRP. I do not belong to his party.
But how do you view such strategy? Because it is sort of an offshot in the origination.
I'm sure he has a strategy, and I'm sure he knows what he's doing. So I wouldn't interfere with his strategy, but my strategy is definitely different.